Welcome back to another episode of the Living for His Glory podcast. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Kendall Brown. I just met Kendall actually last semester, and I remember it was early in the semester. We were meeting as religion majors in Benson Auditorium.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the treachery of Benson Hall.
No.
And you came up to me and said, "Hey, I don't think we've been introduced before. My name's Kendall Brown. I'm a religion major. I'm a sophomore." And I'm thinking, why didn't I meet this guy last year when he was a freshman? Which apparently you weren't a religion major at the time, so
Right.
that helps.
Yeah.
And then we go in the same class. We're in church history for a few months together, and I'm like, yeah, I want to go talk to this guy. So we're talking a little bit after class. I've got to go to practice, but I was like, hey, let's make plans. Let's go eat dinner or something. And so we did that, and I think it was like mid-October-ish in that realm where we just hung out, ate dinner for an hour, talked, and it was an amazing conversation. I honestly wish that we could have brought that conversation here, or at least most elements of it when we weren't fooling around. But man, I am really excited to have you on here. I mean, you don't have enough of those conversations, I think. And that's a little bit on my part. I'm sure I can ask you to dinner a few more times, but not too many times if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Kendall, as you guys are going to find out, he's awesome. He's a really smart guy. He's a really wise guy. He's a well-spoken guy. I think the thing I picked up on you the most, you're really well-spoken. It's like everything you say is rehearsed and it's thought about. That's something I know I can pick up on from you, just especially the thinking before speaking part. I like my little southern drawl. I like the way I speak. I think it suits me.
Yeah.
But definitely the thoughtfulness behind it. I really love how you do that. I really love how you show up intentionally and focused. And that's how I know this conversation is going to go. It's going to be a really amazing and focused conversation. I can't wait to get into it. Kendall, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for those kind words.
Absolutely. I can't give any less for you, my friend. Absolutely nothing less. So, dude, I want to go back with you. When I first started or restarted this podcast back in June, July, just over the course of the summer, we talked a lot about stories on here. We used them as connecting points, and everyone's got a story. And especially me and you are still young. You've turned 20, haven't you?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're still 19? When
Still
you
19.
turn 20?
April.
That's right. Ah, man. Normally I'm better with birthdays than that, but April, so you're still a few months off.
Still a teenager.
Still a teenager. That's terrible. But even as me being 21, you still being a freaking teenager, making us all feel old. Everybody's got a story. Everyone's got a place that they come from. You come from somewhere. I come from somewhere. And you come from a place that I don't come from. I didn't know what a Nazarene was until I stepped foot here at Trevecca. You've been a Nazarene your whole life, right?
Whole life.
Whole life. Man, I can't wait to get into a little bit of your story. One more thing about you that I really admire. You're the first Nazarene that I can effortlessly get along with. I don't know if you've known that.
Okay.
I might be around the wrong Nazarenes, but typically there's something about it we just don't gel well. And it might just be because of the background that I'm from. Because taking systematic theology too with Tim Gaines, I've definitely started to identify where I disagree theologically with the Wesleyan tradition. So but just seems to flow well with you, which I'm glad for. But as you've done your studies here, so you've now been a religion major this is your second semester being a religion major. Have you picked up on what's similar, what's different that you've learned here that may not have been taught at your Nazarene church?
There's not too much. My dad he's a Nazarene pastor. He's been at the same church, small town, for 25 years.
25, wow.
Same church, yeah.
That's a long time at one church. I haven't even lived that long.
Yeah. He's very well read, very well knowledged. There's a lot of new information, but a lot of similar themes to what I've been taught.
Nothing contradictory. Nothing like just too off the ball there.
Nothing huge. There might be a few small things.
Yeah. I know in this is my sixth semester now here and as a religion major. A lot of what our professors talk about is what does this look like in your church? Where can you piece apart, or really, where can you provide critique for your church? It's not just about, okay, hey, this is theology, this is the Bible, but also how are you going to use that in your church? How does it show up in church life? And I've thought about that my church is different. I'm not a Nazarene, so things are just going to be different. But also trying, when I show up on Sundays, what could I, especially as part of the serve team, I get a little bit more in-depth look at it than anybody just coming on in.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get an in-depth look at how is this church run? What is the leadership like? What would I do differently? What maybe could use some critique or reflection or whatever? Have you seen anything in your church that you might think about learning and doing differently just from being here?
It's a good question.
I try to ask them.
Yeah. It's really hard. Obviously, my church is not perfect, but I think we do get a lot right. And I think for taking a lot of what we were learning in class, I think that my church back home embodies a lot of that. The reason why Tribeca students take field trips to Waverly.
Yeah.
I think the thing about my church that I would say what stands out about my church at home is, I know you hear this a lot, but just service. You're going to find this interesting, I think. My church back home, and we might be going a little bit off the question, but my church back home, we have a ramp building ministry.
A ramp building ministry.
Yeah.
Like people that are in wheelchairs, like they need like you. So you build ramps on like their garages, driveways up to their house, like that kind of thing. Really?
We get the materials. People donate the materials, and a bunch of old men go out on a Friday or Saturday morning, and we just spend all day building a ramp. And it's just whoever needs a ramp in the community. It's a very small town.
Yeah.
Very small town.
Now I'm curious, what's the average age of your church? Is there a bunch of like just elderly people running around like need ramps in your church, or?
We do actually build ramps for mostly people outside of our church.
Okay.
And there's a lot of people connected to our church. Just small town, somebody's uncle, somebody's aunt, grandma, whatever. I'd say that there's a good mix, but the old dudes are the guys who like to get at it.
Yeah.
Early Friday morning. Whenever I go, there's not much for me to do because they just take charge.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm just standing in the shade for half the time. Just the guy holding the screws.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Observing.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting there, you're observing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
One day you'll be the older guy in his mid-30s taking charge, building it. That's honestly, I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of that kind of ministry. That is one thing I don't always agree with Nazarenes. I don't. That's no secret if you ask my professors.
Yeah.
I'm not the best student here. But you guys get really creative with ministry, which feeds into my next question, which I think my audience will start warming up to a little bit. I'm trying to warm you up a little bit right now.
I need it.
But yeah, absolutely. But what does real ministry look like for you? Not just as a member of your church in Waverly, not just as a student of Tribeca. Don't give me the spitballed answer that they give us here. What, for you, in your life, does ministry look like?
What does ministry look like? I think ministry starts with humility. Knowing who we are. It starts with knowing who we are and who we are. We're humble servants, only doing our duty, somewhere in Luke 10 or Luke 17, something like that. I see a lot of ministry going on that is just aesthetic, just for the people like to get things together.
For the Instagram.
For the Instagram, for sure. But service looks like going and early in the morning in the cold, beating in posts into the ground in the mud. And it looks like spending time in the places that nobody else would like to spend time at. The places where people were poor and sick. The places that are uncomfortable. Ministry looks like going to somebody else, whether they're a believer or a non-believer who you are sharing the love of Christ with, ministering to, but it's coming before them in humility and serving them in ways that aren't fancy.
Yeah.
You're not trying to seek attention.
No.
Yeah.
It's simple.
It's simple.
And that's a trait of greatness that people share around. And I don't think Nazarenes. So I was raised by a go-getter. My dad was a hard worker. He's a go-getter. He's gained some earthly wealth for himself. Yeah. That's the environment I live by, and it's not that he doesn't idolize wealth, especially he may have getting it, but right now he definitely does, and he likes to use it. But Nazarenes could, at least by my perspective, really couldn't care less about that kind of thing. But it's amazing because it's applied, it's applicable everywhere. An attribute of greatness of building anything is simplicity. And I think about it in terms of the golf course, my life as a golfer. The best thing you can do to get better is not work on some fancy swing mechanic, bowing my wrist, moving my hips at a fraction of a second earlier in a different way. Yeah. Those are helpful, but you learn how to be a good golfer through simplicity, through setting up to the ball correctly. If you have an incorrect setup and you have a perfect swing, the ball is going to be imperfect. Think about the ramp. If you got the actual ramp, it's the top of the ramp, it's sleek, it's nice. You might put some lights in there, make it look cool, have somebody feel like they're ramping up there, like they're some main character. But the base of that ramp is unsteady. It's all going to fall to pieces. Somebody's going to get hurt. It's not going to end up well. Simplicity is foundational. When you focus on staying simple, on staying humble, like you said, because simplicity is also humility, because simple isn't grand, you are able to build something that you can then add on. Like a ramp building ministry, that's an add-on. That's not normal ministry as you see it. That's God being able to bless your church with the ability to do something unique that I don't know if anybody's ever thought of doing that before. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So being able to build simply is a good way to build anywhere, not just in ministry, but also in life. And you do it with humility. You do it with a heart after God.
I'm a big baseball guy.
You are a big baseball guy. He's just in baseball.
So I know a guy, and he got to work out with Spencer Strider. He's one of the best pitchers in the MLB.
Good. I don't know who that is. I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. He pitches for the Braves, by the way.
Oh, that's why. I should have pieced that one together. You're a big Braves guy.
Yeah. But he said that in the corner of the room, he saw Spencer Strider doing the same hip mobility drill for 30 minutes straight.
Really?
Each leg. Yeah. One of the greatest pitchers. He's not even that tall. Usually pitchers are tall. He's not super tall. He doesn't look like just the biggest guy ever.
Yeah.
But he throws like really hard. Like those upper 90s consistently. And he does that by simply going in and doing the simple things every day and doing them right.
Yeah.
And doing them with intentionality.
Yeah. The best thing that we can do as believers, if we look at ministry, the most simple, Kendall, what are the two most simple things, most repeated things that people tell us to do every day to be better Christians?
I don't know if these are your answers, but I'd say read the Bible and pray.
That's exactly my answer.
Okay.
Those are my answers. The two most common things I hear, you just need to be in your Bible more. You just need to pray more. And people, that's difficult because if you're going, sometimes no matter how much you read your Bible or how much you pray, you're just going to go through hard times.
Yeah.
You're going to go through seasons where you don't feel very faithful. You don't feel it. You don't feel God. No matter how much you're in that Word, no matter how much you're talking to Him, it just happens. And so reading your Bible and praying is not some magical, this is going to save my entire situation. I'm going to go back to being amazing after. You will eventually, but it's not a quick fix. It's not
Right.
Hey, if you take this pill once a day for every week, you're going to lose 20 pounds. Like that's not what it is. But it's a core foundational thing. There's two core foundational things that allow us to go and do other greatness.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I think a lot of times we go to prayer, the Bible, as trying to get a quick fix.
I know I sometimes do.
And we're doing God injustice when we do that. We're not being patient. I think a lot of times when we try to get that quick fix, we're going to a God that's maybe skewed.
Yeah.
Not God himself, but maybe the God who we like to make out.
Yeah. I'd like to call it a genie.
Yeah.
We make God a genie. Hey, genie, I wish. Right? Like we minimize him by making him a genie. I found myself whenever I'm in a tough situation. I've been in a few. I've been in a few recently. Just some tough situations. I don't have answers. And I'll go to the Bible and I'm thinking, okay, what's my answer here? What does the Bible tell me to do? That's not necessarily bad in itself. What does the Bible tell me to do? It's a great thing to think about.
Yeah.
I might find out. All right, hey, this is what I should do in this particular situation. This is how I'm instructed to live, how my heart's instructed to be postured, and how I can live for God's glory this way. But when we're reading our Bible, we are reading the Word of God itself. When we are praying, we are speaking and are in the presence of the God of the universe, the God who created you and me. And so one thing, this is going to sound, I think this could sound Nazarene to you because I think I picked it up here. When we read the Bible and when we pray, it's not just I'm going to go to get an answer. It shouldn't be I'm just going to go get an answer. I want to result something out of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go be in the presence of God. And I'm going to sit in that and acknowledge that and dwell in that and be charged in that.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, God, I'm asking for this, or hey, God, what do you say about this? I am sitting in my Father's presence, the Lord of the universe. I'm sitting and soaking in his presence. And if we're not doing that, then we're not really going to God.
Absolutely. I think sometimes we try to be the giver and we don't let God himself be the giver of gifts, a giver of answers. And it takes humility and it takes patience to be the receiver.
Yeah.
You know who we are. We are human.
Yeah.
God is God. He's the God of the universe, like you said. Let God be the giver.
Yeah. So when we try to be a giver, when we try to be the giver, you think that's us trying to make ourselves like God?
Yeah. And in a healthy way.
Yeah, it is, but we're still trying to be like God, which in itself, it's if you take it down to its ultimate end, it's idolatry, isn't it? It's self-idolatry. Dude, like that's a great line. I'm shocked. Because you just spoke directly into my life. I love giving. I love giving. I remember when I was first getting to know my girlfriend, we were talking. I said, I love giving. I would much rather, we're talking about, because I think we're talking about love languages.
Yeah.
And how, and she was like, how do you receive? And I'm like, I have my two. Everyone has their top two. But honestly, I would rather just give to you. Like in a lot of ways. Sometimes I want to receive because we're humans. It feels nice sometimes, right? But honestly, I'm like, I get so much pleasure from giving to you and watching your face light up and watching you just be like, wow, thank you. That's awesome. Just watching me make your day makes me feel really good. I love it. And that's a great trait to have, but I'm constantly trying to do it. I'm constantly trying to be the giver, be the caregiver, be the one that shows up, be the one and never receiving. The biggest way that shows up is, I really do stick to this belief because I think it's the right thing, because I think the man's the provider. I think every man should be the provider. Sometimes men are not in a position where they can be, but they should be doing everything possible to be that. And like paying for dinner dates. My girlfriend really loves going to Baja Burrito. Have you been to Baja Burrito?
Oh, yeah.
You got to go to Baja. Yeah, Baja Burrito is
yeah.
the spot in Nashville, Tennessee. She loves going. I'm broke, so I haven't had a job since last summer. But I told you before we started this, I'm just about to start one. The next weekend I'm available. But so I can't be that caregiver, that provider financially because I'm broke. And I've got savings, but I like to keep my savings reserved for future Lucas, for the Lucas that graduated, for the Lucas that was about to go and live on his own, like that kind of thing.
Right.
And me, I'm trying to be that caregiver, trying to be that provider. And the simplest option would be, hey, maybe let my girlfriend pay for the date for one time. But I got hubris. I just got this thing in me that's just not right. And so what I'll want to do is I'll want to be like, I'll take a little bit out of savings to pay for the date and more. And that has started to add up, which is why I'm starting this job. But like, I constantly want to be the caregiver instead of either saying, hey, let's just not go out, or if she offers to pay, just having you can disagree with this because I honestly don't like it either. Having the humility to be like, you know what, if you want to pay for it and then you can do so. But really just trying to not have such an ego about being a provider, doing what I can to be the provider, but if for some reason I can't, not having an ego about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a girlfriend or anything, but if I did, I would want to be that person who pays for most of the stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there is something about letting her provide for you sometimes. Again, I'm born and raised in Tennessee, small town. Like, I'm a gentleman.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask for it.
No.
I'm going to expect to always pay.
Yes.
But
I want to as well. Yeah, like it's
Right.
difficult for me to watch. Oh, it's difficult for me.
But it takes some humility to be the receiver, especially guys like us.
Yeah. People and I think that's where our culture has shifted. I think people our age are afraid of asking because they don't want to be a burden. They don't want to be the one, hey, I'm going to make you go out of your way to do something just for me. because I'm selfish. We don't want to be selfish.
Yeah.
And so I think it's natural. I think at first it was just going back. I think it used to take humility to want to give, because we were selfish and we wanted. So I don't want to give to you. I don't want to do something for you. I don't want to serve because like I want stuff, right? But now I would honestly prefer to serve but now we have pride of they can't help me. I don't want to receive. And that's pride in itself too. It's just pride in the other direction.
For sure.
I think the greatest thing that you can do as a believer is be dual-sided, because while Jesus' attitude was servitude, he commanded his apostles to serve, but he also made them be served. I think the biggest thing is when he washed their feet. There's still a lot of symbolic traits in Jesus washing his disciples' feet. And do you remember Peter? It was Peter, wasn't it? It's always Peter. So Peter was like, "No, Lord, I will not let you wash my feet." Jesus wasn't having that. Jesus was like, "I'm going to wash your feet, bro. I'm going to wash your feet." And there's a lot you can take away from that about Jesus' servitude, but it was also Jesus like, you still need to receive. You still need to let me pour into you. Cool thing about Jesus that none of us have is he's always full because he's God. God's always full. God doesn't need somebody to pour into him. So Jesus is constantly able to serve. But what we saw with how Jesus treated and commanded his disciples was not always to serve, it's predominantly serve, but also to receive, to get served. It's an incredibly important trait.
I think of, and excuse me, this might be, I believe it's Mary and Martha in the Bible, where Mary's sitting at the feet of Jesus and Martha's in there cooking.
Yeah,
I believe that's Mary and Martha.
Yeah, where Martha's trying to take care of Jesus and Mary's just sitting there weeping, cleaning. Was she cleaning his feet with her hair?
I think that might have been a different story.
Could have been. I know it's definitely a story. I don't know if it's. No, she was sitting there asking them questions. Right. Martha was taking care of it. That's right.
But I think that's like a example of the two-sidedness. We need the Marthas. We're not.
Yeah.
I read a story the other day. It's in this book, Wisdom of the Desert Fathers. It's a great book.
Yeah.
And there's this monk in one of the communities that didn't want to do any work. He just wanted to sit there and pray and contemplate God forever. And he wanted to be more like an angel than he was a human. He was a man. So he left. And he came back a few days later. He's knocking, trying to get in. And you have the guy over the abbot was there. And he was like, "Can I come back in?" And the father was like, "John is no longer a man. He's an angel. He doesn't need to come back." And that really stuck with me. And he kept going until he promised to start working again, and he came back into the community. But I think we always want to focus on Mary, and we need Mary. We need to be the person who comes to the feet of Jesus. But at the same time, we're human.
Yeah.
We're man. We also need to be in the kitchen serving.
That's right.
That needs to happen. We're human. We need food.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good illustration of that double-sidedness.
Yeah, it's great to be double-sided like that, dual. It's an amazing trait. I love serving. I serve at my church every week that I'm available. And I love it. I love it. Because it's a long day. Because let's take yesterday, for example. I get there at about 6:30 in the morning, and then we do our team huddle, and then we go and we set up. We rent that building, so we take everything out of storage, then we set it back up, and then we set it back up. The closers do that later, right? But they have, and then the first service is at 8, then it's at 9:30, and then 11, and then they actually opened up a new service at 12:30. So now my church has 4 services, which is insane.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's wild. It's crazy. I think this is week 2 with 4 services. It's insane how many they have. I couldn't imagine being the pastor, like having to preach the same message 4 times. I'm like, how do you stay focused doing that?
Oh my gosh.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
So I get there at 6:30, and what they'll have us do, if you serve the 8, then you have to sit in at the 9:30. If you serve the 9:30 like I do, you have to sit in at the 8. So we'll set up and everything, get everything in order. We're typically done with everything by 7:20, 7:30. We'll do our all the openers. The first team huddle is just my group we're called guest experience. So we're the welcome team and the parking team. And then we do everybody, like the sound, ushers, everybody coming together. And then we'll do a big one at 7:30. We'll hang around, wait until everybody starts coming in, but typically at 7:45, 7:50. I'll sit in at the 8, be there for an hour, worship, listen to the message, and then go out and I'll serve for the 9:30. 9:30 gets hectic. That's the busiest. 9:30 and the 11 are always the busiest. And so I'll bring them in, park them, hang out. Service will get out, and then we'll go back out, and then we're getting the 9:30 out, and then the 11's coming in at the same time. It's madness. It's mayhem. Finally, the 11 o'clock gets situated. Everyone's got in. It calms down, and I'm able to go back. That's 5 hours, I think. So I got there at 6:30. I didn't leave last Sunday until 11:15, so almost 5 hours at church. So it's a long morning, but it's that important that you don't just show up to serve, but you show up and you're also still served. You are fed into. And I'm glad that I served the 9:30, so that way the first thing that I do is, I set up, but then I go get fed. And from that, I get to go, I'm in the parking. I'm not a welcome guy. I'm a parking guy. So they actually get me first. I'm the first smile that they see when they come in, which is a blessing. And so I get to serve and park people and just do what I do, enthused from the message that I just heard. I am fed, and then I get to go and serve and help, quote unquote, feed other people as they're coming in, as they're doing it. And it really is a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
When you were talking about that book that you read, and you're talking about the monk and the abbot and that story, you were able to feed us that story because you were first fed that story, because you took the time to sit down with that book and feed yourself. Was that on our devotional list for Hoskins, or did you just... It was. I guess Hoskins was the one that told you to eat the meal, but you ate that meal, and now you were able to share that with us. I think the illustration's made in the Bible of how can you drink from an empty, or how can you pour from an empty cup?
Love is not something that we can just manifest.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be something that we just manifest. A lot of times I feel like love, we fill in our own definition of the word love.
Yeah.
Our own human definition of feelings.
Yeah.
But true love, we need to be fed. True love is of the Spirit.
Yeah.
True love is rooted in the person of Jesus Christ, and it is extended from us to others in the name of Christ. So I think there's something to be said of loving as Christians as we're supposed to.
Yeah.
It can't be this, we're talking about Nazarenes, where we call ourselves Wesleyan.
Yeah.
It's a big thing whether we're actually Wesleyan these days or not. I don't know if you read some of the stuff. Wesley rode a horseback through all of England.
Yeah, I read it.
He preached like 800 sermons.
Yeah. Like 800 sermons a year. That's stupid. That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah. It's insane. And somehow, I'm assuming he was fed somehow.
Maybe not. That's a lot of serving to do.
Yeah.
Do you even have time to get served? His serving might have just been being in the Bible and letting God himself, the Spirit, serve him. That might have been it.
It might have just been this just incredible gift.
He did also have his brother.
Did have his brother,
His brother. I don't remember his brother's first name. His last name's Wesley.
Yeah. Charles.
Charles Wesley.
Yeah.
So it could have been his brother.
Yeah. But we can't just be these, I'm talking about me. I can't preach 800 sermons a year.
No.
I don't know about you.
I've been lucky to preach 800 sermons in my lifetime.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We're not these just workhorses that have been given a command and have been told, take and run.
Yeah.
We need God. And again, being the receivers, that takes humility.
It does.
Neediness.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that stops you from serving and anything that stops you from being served or being willing to be served or being willing to serve others is pride.
Yeah.
It's hubris. It's, I don't want you to do this. And you might think of it as, oh, no, it's not pride. I'm trying to do this for you so that I don't have to bother you. No, that's pride. You're still being prideful. It's just deflated pride instead of inflated pride.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought up love, because at least by the time this podcast releases, it will be in February. It will release before Valentine's Day, but coming up on Valentine's Day, which is the worldly day of love.
Yeah.
If you have a girlfriend, a fiance, or a husband, wife, then you're gonna. If you're a guy, you'll buy flowers for your girl. You'll buy her candy. You'll take her out to a nice dinner. If you're single, you just sit there. You might have a little something, a little drink of your choice, whatever it may be, on the counter that night, just sitting there. Man, I'd love to be on a date right now. But that is the worldly day of love, and I would love there's going to be a lot of messages about love this month that people are going to hear, but I would love the reminder of what real love is moving into something like Valentine's Day, moving into a month and a day in particular that I'm going to say almost objectifies love is the word that comes to mind. I
Mm.
think love's objectified this time of year and this month. People are like, I need you to ask me to be my Valentine. I need
Yeah.
you to buy me flowers. I need you to do this, and this is what I want. It's almost, oh, wait, I thought we just finished with Christmas. You just
Yeah.
want Christmas gifts in the form of a red heart or a pink heart. Do you think that we've objectified love as a culture?
Oh, 100%. And I think it may even be a worse problem than that, just in our culture and just objectifying it. A lot of times we talk about love as something that, you know, in terms of our desires, which
Yeah.
I mean is the right way to describe love. But when love becomes about us and not about what we give,
Yeah.
love is self giving.
Yeah.
I think about the type of hoping to get married someday. The type of marriage that I would want to have is one where it's self-giving on both sides.
Yes.
I don't want to be the person who's just trying to get her love
Right.
and her just trying to get my love. I want it to be this connection where there's self-giving love on both
Yeah.
sides.
It's really scary to go out and love somebody and serve them like that and make them your whole focus because you are left with, if I'm spending so much time taking care of them, who's going to take care of me? We talked about us as men being the caregivers for our wives. Our wives are also caregivers of us. They're in different ways. Like me and you mentioned, we do not want our girls going off and paying for dates. It's just not the way that we want to do it because that's more of a providing caregiving. I think that in terms of caregiving, the man is a provider and the woman is just a straight up caregiver of, I don't want to use the word caregiver, but the woman is much more empathetic with her love, with her caregiving, much more comforting, much more consoling. She's the one who, if we've had a bad day or we're ramped up, can calm us down. We're the ones, if she feels insecure, if she feels unprotected, if she feels like everybody's out to get her, we are the ones that make her feel safe. But both parties need to be caregiving, need to be giving to the other, and we avoid burnout. We don't give from an empty cup because we're always pouring out, but we're also always getting filled by the other. It's like this cycle, it's this loop of I pour into you, you pour into me, I pour into you, you pour into me, and we're constantly pouring into each other, but we're also constantly receiving each other. That's the best kind of relationship where both parties are putting their all into each other. And if they're putting their all into each other, then they're filling themselves back up.
Yeah.
It's an amazing way to function. What are some ways that you've seen our culture objectify love? Because I think there's a lot of people that could say we've objectified love in our culture, but we need to get specific about it. We need to say, all right, this is how we're doing it. You like somebody listening to this might be objectifying love in a way. Me and you might be objectifying love in a way. We need to address, all right, this is how it happens. This is how God does it. What God's kind of love is not objectifying. God's love is true, holy, and perfect. So where can we go from now as this is how we have objectified and distorted love to now this is how we can go and do love in a God-centered way?
What exactly do you mean by objectified?
In this context, I'm going to use the analogy of, let's say, and this is definitely a way that love is objectified because it's objectified into lust. If you look at a woman, instead of seeing her beauty, you see a certain physical trait. And you're like, man, I want that. When we see love, it's I want that rather than seeing the beauty of it. Almost like when we go to the Bible or to prayer looking for an answer rather than being in the Word and the beauty and grace of God Himself.
I feel like this is something that I think most people, pretty much everybody, struggles with, and God has to reorder their love and make us holy, make us to where our love is less and less objectified. I think real love, you have to start with God, and God has to be your primary, your greatest love, and I mean that's the only way it fits. And then we go out into the world, beautiful things, beautiful people, good food. You could go on. The list of things to love is really long. But every love has to fit under, and not just fit under, but in a way where you see the world through God's love.
Yeah.
You see that other person as somebody who God made. And maybe this is the Nazarene in me. God who is drawing that person to him, and is who's calling by his grace, is who's trying to, whether it's a non-believer who's trying to lead into the waters of baptism, or somebody who he's trying to sanctify. But yeah, I think that's my answer. How do we restrain ourselves from objectifying love? Is we go to the God who is in his essence true love, and only he can order our loves correctly.
Yeah. When I think about like godly love, because while you're explaining that, I'm trying to think of examples of where God showed his love. And the most full example is Christ's crucifixion,
Oh yeah.
of him crucifying his own son. So we know that Christ's love is sacrificial.
Yes, yes.
It is it is the most sacrificial thing. There's a story. You know who the apologist Cliff Knechtle?
I am not familiar with him.
I think you'd love him. I think you'd
Okay.
love him. I know Nazarenes don't like
Wait,
apologetics, but
Wait. Yes, no, I know
Yes.
Cliff. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
He's
Yeah.
big on social media.
yes, he is.
He was at Passion, wasn't he?
I think that he was. His nephew Stuart more runs socials now, but there's definitely a ton of videos of him going around college campuses and doing apologetics, debating. I love this illustration that he has. There's a bus driver, and the bus is full of school children. The bus is out of control. The brakes are gone, and he only has two paths. One is goes through a gate, and there's a field past this gate, and the bus can stop safely there. Or there's a cliff nearby, and he can go off the cliff. The trick is, on top of that gate is a little boy. And so if he goes through the gate, that boy will surely die. But if he went off the cliff, then all the school children would die. Every little boy and girl on that bus. So he grinds his teeth, he makes a decision, and he goes through the gate. And he saves the bus full of school children, but the boy is killed. And gosh, I love this story. He tells it way better than I do. So the parents get there, the police get there, and everybody's hugging their kids, and hugging their sons and daughters, happy that they're safe. And they go to the policeman, like, hey, where's the bus driver? I'm looking for the bus driver. I want to thank him for saving my kid. He said, the bus driver's not here, ma'am. He's at the hospital recovering. Like, recovering from what? He's recovering from mental trauma because the boy on top of that gate was his son. God's own son was sent here, lived a perfect life, and died on behalf of us, for us to live. Christ died for us. Christ was sacrificed for us. And so when I'm thinking about love being objectified, I'm using an example of what I used earlier. I want flowers. I want candy. I want a stuffed animal. I want gifts. I want all these things. And on the guy's side, I want hugs and kisses. If you're married or just living in a sinful lifestyle, I might want a little something extra, right? They expect something out of the woman, and the woman expects something from the man. And that's an objectified love. That's a quid pro quo love, and that's just not what a love is. Because what God got out of his love for us was his son was crucified. And his son is now alive, living with him in heaven, but for 3 days his perfect son was crucified for us. And so I'm thinking about sacrificial love. I don't go and see somebody and think I want something from you. There's a physical trait that I like about you. There's quality about you. Maybe just even personality wise, I want from you, and I want to be with you. I want to hold you, kiss you, be in a relationship with you, do whatever relationship people do with each other, right? And that's at the end of the day, you just want something. And that's something I'm trying to work through myself. I'm trying to be okay with being more sacrificial and not being selfish. It's a tough thing, especially just for us as men. I feel like we have been told by the world we need to keep giving, and it's like, when's our turn to receive? And if you find the right one, you end up receiving anyway because of that loop we were talking about. but where can I be sacrificial in my love for other people? Maybe you're not in a relationship like yourself, you're single, but I get to still be sacrificial in my love for other people, whether it be a stranger, one of my boys. Hey, you find some really attractive lady on campus, you start being sacrificial love for her. Where can I just being sacrificial? That is God's type of love. So where can we be sacrificial with our love and not I want that, I want to go get that.
Yeah. The first kind of thing that comes to mind is in our relationships. You used that a lot just then. How do our relationships operate? And relationships, man and woman, how do they start at the basics? Why are you getting into a relationship? Is it because you think this person can give you what you want? I think of who I want to marry, and it's not somebody who has all the perfect qualities that would feed me in a maybe not a weird way, but somebody who can love the world with me.
Yeah.
Somebody who we can love the world together. We serve best together. So I think first and foremost, this is a pretty specific example, but how we operate in our relationships, it's not only me and her, but it's how we serve God together. I think that's important.
Dude, I love that perspective. Thanks for adding that on there.
Yeah.
Thanks for adding that perspective on there. It's not just about how are you serving me and how am I serving you. That's not just the loop. We have to add on to that. How are we loving God together? And from loving God, we get to love what He loves together, which is His creation, the world. It's not just about you and your wife, or if you're a girl, you and your husband loving each other well, but how are you loving your creator well, and how are you loving his creation, which is, yes, your spouse, but it's also every little thing about you. Don't just be sacrificial in your love for your spouse, but being sacrificial in your love for the creation around you. That's a great perspective on that.
And I'm blessed. My parents have really been a great model for that in my life. My dad is a pastor, and my mom, she's not a pastor, but she serves in so many crucial ways. I've written school essays about her and what a woman she was. She plays piano at church,
Okay.
which is the stereotypical church's
Of course.
pastor's wife. But right now she's in the schools, and she is with children with emotional needs and kids that are emotionally acting up.
Yeah.
And she supports my dad. My dad supports her. It's very much they bounce off each other. They serve together.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing that I've been able to see in my 19 years of living.
Yeah, that's 19. Geez, I was only 19. I was 19 like 15 months ago, 16 months ago. So I can't say much. So your parents are living under one uniform mission, which is serving God and serving His creation. But they do it in their own unique ways. Your dad being a pastor, your mom being a pianist, but also in the schools being a teacher. She's teaching. I mean, is she a teacher, or is she just like a school chaplain? Or
She teaches, but specifically for emotionally.
Oh, yeah,
kind
okay.
of like a counselor.
Oh, okay.
Not the counselor, but like a counselor, like a specific.
I hear you. So those are two different professions, not working together. They might have their collab time. One may not know as much about the other as the other, and vice versa, but they are able to support each other. They might not be there for it all. They might not fully understand it all, but they're able to support each other through that. They're able to support each other in their different mission fields, in their different areas of expertise. And that's just a beautiful thing, as they're both serving God and serving His creation well.
Yeah. And I think one of the best ways I've seen them bounce off each other, support each other, is by pushing each other.
Yeah.
The person who you're going to want to spend the rest of your life with, do you want that to be the person who is always comforting you and always, which is...
It's important.
It's important, but the kind of person who's on a mission that's greater than either one of the wife or the husband themselves. It's bigger than that. Yeah. So a wife or a husband who pushes, I've seen that. That's been beautiful.
Yeah, you get to live on mission with your spouse.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool to think about. Because me and you are called to live on mission individually, but you had a spouse in that.
Yeah.
It's not that time is taken away from that mission. Now you get to be in the mission together. It's awesome having a partner, not being alone,
Yeah.
not being alone in the mission.
Yeah.
Because we talked about John Wesley and where is he getting fed into. He may not have the way that me and you do because he was always the one preaching. I think, gosh, 800 sermons a year, 52 weeks in a year. I would love for someone to do the math on that, about how many sermons a week that is. That's probably got to be in that like 3 to 4 sermons a week range, maybe more. I'm not a math guy.
52 weeks in a year, 800 sermons. That's 15, around maybe 15, 16
800
sermons a week.
Yeah, gosh, I was 3 to 4. Where was I? You know what? This is why I'm not a mathematician. I don't know where I got that number. Yeah, it says 15.3. 15.3 sermons a week. Wow. That is a ton. Preaching as many sermons as a week as most pastors will do in a third of a year, in 4 months. He did it in a week. That's incredible. It's incredible. So where was he getting fed in? I don't know, but he was definitely doing it with people. We talked about his brother Charles, and he had so many more, so many other like-minded men, or even men that helped him. The Moravians. We're reading about the Moravians. The Moravians went and helped him and shaped his theology a little bit. It's just super cool who you get to meet with in the journey and go through that journey with. And it's not just about me and you are in that journey together, just as brothers in Christ, fellow students, classmates, that kind of thing. But when we get married, we get to join into that and a lot more intimately with our spouse, with our wives, with our future wives. We get to walk beside them. It's not just about getting fed into, but also walking in that mission with somebody else and not being alone.
Absolutely. And I love how you touched on the Charles too, and how was John Wesley being fed. It's not just our spouse. We have brothers in Christ, or
that's right,
actual blood-related brothers. But we also need deep and those deep and personal friendships. I think of you and me, and obviously we come from, now we do agree on a lot of stuff as in this podcast, but we come from different backgrounds. We have our differences in theology and beliefs, but in that regard, how we can bounce off each other and push each other, support each other in ways that might not be really emphasized in my tradition, or maybe in some ways that might not be emphasized in your tradition.
Yeah.
But it's really healthy.
Yeah.
So just I know a lot of people are just super depressed about the state of the church and how there's all these traditions. But I think in a beautiful way, in classes, we have lots of brothers and sisters who are of different traditions. Obviously, sisters.
Yeah, we have plenty of sisters here.
Which is not, in some traditions, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Getting controversial.
We can talk about women in ministry another time.
We don't need to get into all that. But the ways that we can bounce off each other.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who are friends who are Pentecostal. Very much, I'm not speaking as an expert in that tradition, but speaking about people who are very in tune with the Spirit and very much emphasize spiritual gifts, which I might think they're overdoing it, overemphasizing that. But then again, living in harmony with the Spirit is something that is very true.
Yeah.
And something that we can take, and in a way that our brothers who are Pentecostals can help shape us in healthy ways.
Absolutely.
Bounce off us.
Absolutely. I have been around the two Pentecostals I've really been around, of my friend Drew Wall and then our classmate Jeremiah. It has helped me shape it, like the more feely part. I mean, Nazarenes are more feely as well. I think Nazarenes are closer to Pentecostal than Nazarenes are to Baptist.
Yeah.
Or non-denominational.
Yeah.
So I'm the outlier here.
Yeah. Which I also will say,
I
don't know that Tribeca Chapel just speaks for all Nazarenedom.
I hope not.
Yeah. Which nothing, I'm not just trying to speak against the chapel, but there's some different.
It's contradictory a little bit. I do love seeing the other perspective and really conversing, disagree. I even love disagreeing, because I'm like, somebody's going to learn something unless we're just not being very good believers, which sometimes can be the case. And feelings can get hurt.
Yeah.
I try not to let that happen as best I can. I know you do as well, but at least between me and you, we converse really well.
Yeah.
We bounce ideas off each other. We talk theology. It's great. I wish me and you were both in systematic, so I could bounce theology off you. I love Zane's in there with me. I love Zane,
Oh man.
but Zane's above my head sometimes. I'm like, sometimes Zane, you're above my pay grade. I can't understand what you're saying right now. I need you to like dumb it down for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Kendall, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks
Yeah,
for
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being my guest, man. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I think we had a great conversation. I can't wait for this to release, man.
I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be a good one. I appreciate you coming on here today. I appreciate you having something for us. I know I wasn't as prepared as I normally am.
Yeah. I wasn't
Yeah.
prepared either.
No,
Yeah.
I'm the host, right? It's my job to be
Yeah.
prepared
That's true.
and then let you fall in line, right?
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the conversation today. I think it was spirit led. Even when I'm not prepared, typically the spirit is.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing about the spirit. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Living for His Glory. I had such an amazing time making it, and I really hope it connected and impacted you on a significant level. I love making and recording episodes like these. I truly believe that they fulfill the Living for His Glory mission, which is to help you break free of your worldly chains and step into the person that God has called you to be. I love you guys. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I hope that it changes something about how you do this week. I hope you have a good day and a good week as we continue to get ready for next week's episode. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you later.